So if you the same age as Aria, and he was sitting up in here with us right now, how could that Negro justify them false prophecies to you? Let alone anointing this big old fat greasy Negro up there, Jermaine Grant. They calling him the Comforter, the Holy Spirit. What would you say to such tomfoolery in this hour, Dr. Maddox?
Everybody that's following whoever he is, you need to find God. The only leader is God. God is the leader. Man cannot lead you nowhere, and it definitely cannot lead you out of this captivity that the Almighty put us in.
Correct. Now, we speaking of black Hebrew cults in this hour. We seen Ben and me do some wicked things over there in the land. Separate families. Had children who had their daddy in the house when they fall out or whatever, and the daddy, he with the woman down the road now, another brother up in there, now he got to call his daddy uncle instead of calling him daddy. Negroes, wife swapping, molesting the children. They burying their loved ones in a damn dump over in Des Moines. You went to a funeral today. And our history have always been we respected our people in death. Didn't Judah and all the patriarchs call their babies up to their bed before they went to sleep and got buried with their fathers, doctor? Haven't we always paid respects and were told to do so by the Most High?
Exactly. And matter of fact, not only that, some of them went on for 2 and 3 weeks.
Absolutely.
But some of them went on for several months.
Correct.
So God have always allowed us to pay respect to our loved ones.
There's a time to mourn.
There's a time
to cry.
And there's a time to die.
Absolutely, Dr. Maddox. It's written in our history, is it not?
Been written in our history before I was even born.
The main thing you always told me, doctor, was to read. And I've always been a voracious reader. I read real fast and retain what I read. That's why I like to research. Never have been afraid of that. You remember way back when I told you, I gave you a call one night, and I said, doctor, I'm ready to find out some things the devil doing. You was like, boy, what kind of weed you been smoking up there? How much it costs?
Yes.
I
can remember that fluently, just like it was yesterday.
I was like, doctor, no, look, I found out, man. It's this group of niggas up here, man, think they slick as snot. I call them the goat riders. They Masons, man. And that's when I first started delving into the dark side. I mean, let me find out what these niggas doing.
Yeah.
Then when I found out they learned this at the kneecaps of crackers, and that the founding fathers of America were goat riders, man, I was finding pictures of George Washington in the Baphomet pose, and Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin, all the big muckety-muck crackers. Then I found out about that bootlicking Negro named Prince Hall. And I couldn't believe it. I called around every Negro Mason in every city was in the Prince Hall Lodge. I was finding this stuff out lightning fast, and I kind of liked it, doctor, because I started calling them at 2, 3 in the morning, scaring them niggas to death. I tell you again, I'm the reason Call ID came out in America. I tormented them goat riding bastards, because I didn't understand how could you Negroes follow these heathens into this devil worship? This the same heathen that kicked you in the ass, told you to get on the back of the bus. But you want to go and join his organization. A wickedness. Does that make any sense to you, Dr. Maddox?
None whatsoever to me. And, you know, I'm amazed at how we have been burned, cooked, lynched, castrated in this country. And you let somebody lead you into hell. You know, that don't make no sense to me. Now, I'm not a normal person, I don't think. Evidently, I'm not. Because I do not see where that make no sense to me at all. Now, I remember when them niggas first went down there with Jim Jones. They went down there in Guyana.
Yes, sir.
I said, how can somebody take a chicken gizzard and tell you it's cancer. He just pulled cancer out of you. But now you in the fox's den now.
Correct. You in his wheelhouse.
You ain't got no way out. So now you got to go along with the program.
Correct.
When I thought that every black in America would wake up behind that, it was some of us didn't even see that.
Didn't even blink, doctor. The script say we have eyes that seeth not and ears that heareth not. And I found that script to be 100% accurate.
It is accurate. It's more than accurate. Whenever the Almighty tell you something, you better take it to heart, because it's going to come to pass one way or the other, and it's going to always be unexpected. I'm a living witness to that, because it has happened to me.
Yes, sir.
Because I thought I was invincible at one time. You know that for yourself when I first met you.
Absolutely, doctor.
But
And y'all see the doctor style on that old slave house with them pimp suits on and them hats cocked ace deuce. I love the way you chased them heathens up off that top floor, doctor. You had them mesmerized with the reading of that Deuteronomy 28th chapter, while they were creaking around on them boards that was soaked in Hebrew blood. Because those whipping posts were right there, wasn't they, doctor?
that whipping post up there, like I said, in the slave house, that was the worst instrument that was in this whole entire operation, with that whipping post, because a lot of blood that's soaked into it.
There's so much blood that's creaked down and dried up in them floorboards, man. It's probably enough to fill up a few human bodies, ain't it, doctor?
Oh, ain't no doubt about that. It's no doubt. A few human bodies, my goodness. For it to be Southern Illinois, that was the trip to me. You know, like, Illinois was a free state.
Correct. But yet, one of the most cruelest plantations in all of America was within a free state right there in Southern Illinois. And I played football in Carbondale in college. I went to school on a football scholarship and had no idea 10 minutes down the road was this slave house. Until you told it to me. Till you took me over there. And we filmed it. And we thought that tape was gone for 20 years, didn't we, doctor?
It was gone for 20 years. It hadn't been for my son.
I thought it was gone forever. I thought it was just going to be a memory that I used to tell people about. And some would look incredulous, you know, like, you got to be lying. Ain't no slave house in Illinois. Illinois is a free state. I'm like, yeah, it is. But I'm telling you, Abraham Lincoln went to this cracker Crenshaw begging for money when he was a young politician. And he rose up to be president. And on his way back to get buried in Illinois, where did they take Abraham Lincoln's body, Dr. Maddox?
John Hart Crenshaw's plantation in Harrisburg, Illinois.
The very one that we did that documentary in?
The same one that's on YouTube that we did the doc in. And, see, I knew those Klansmen up there that day. You know how I knew they was Klansmen?
How was that?
Because I've been in their camp before. I've been in the Klan's camp several times.
Tell our listening audience about that experience, because we ain't scared. Tell them, doctor.
Down in a little old town called Kimonde, Illinois. It's right outside of Effingham.
Okay.
On Interstate 57, coming back north towards Chicago.
Correct.
Which is quite a distance from the slave house. About 3 hours, about 2.5, 3 hours from the slave house.
Right.
There was a group up there called the Patriotic Defense League. And they was talking about they had to kill blacks coming from Chicago, New York, Detroit, St. Louis. And I'm saying, wait a minute. Why they wants to kill blacks? For what?
That's right.
So I went up there. Had my kids in the car with me. And little old, small, old service station had a little back road that goes up behind it. So When I get in town, I said, this got to be the place here because of the way it was described in the paper.
Correct.
And the reason that they was going to kill blacks, I wanted to know why. So the guy said, when I pulled up to the little station, I said, I'm looking for a guy by the name of Harold Farrell. Never heard of him. Now, he done drew a blueprint
Right.
of what the place looked like. So I pulls out, get halfway up a hill and made a U-turn. I said, oh, no, this is it right here. I said, this white boy lying to me. Great big old skinhead. Weighed about 300 pounds down at the bottom of the hill.
Right.
The entrance. So the entrance was a trap. You had to go in behind the little service station, and then you had to go between two walls to get there.
Correct.
So when I get up there, before I got to that point, again, I said, man, what about this place up on the hill? He never said a word. He just got on the phone. He said, tell him to come on up. He said, come on up. He said, go on up. I said, how? He said, drive right through here. I said, okay. I gets up there, this white man walks out. He said, let me see your driver's license. I said, I ain't got no driving license. I said, I might have a ID. He said, let me see your Social Security card.
Right.
I showed him my Social Security card. I showed him my driver's license. And he said, who are you and what can I do for you? I said, I'm a black Hebrew Israelite Jew. And I say, I live only a few miles down the road. I said, we have a farm down there.
That's right.
I said, a lot of Israelites live down here. And I said, we do not integrate with your women. We do not integrate with your people. I say, but I want to know, why are you wanting to kill blacks coming from the north? He said, well, there's going to be another bloodbath in this country.
It's what the Klan's been telling you.
That's exactly what he told me. He said, there's going to be another bloodbath in this country, and your people think that they're going to take what we got. I said, okay. I said, well, look, we have our own farm. I said, we grow our own food. I said, we don't have to take anything from you or your people.
Correct.
He said, how long have you known you was Israelite? I said, 15, 20 years maybe.
Right.
He said, let me tell you something. He said, normally, I wouldn't even talk to you. But he said, I like what you said. He said, now let me tell you something. I said, okay, here we go. He said, the real Jews are not very far from where the slave ships dropped you all off at on the east coast of America.
Correct.
He said, the false Jews are in your land now.
This a Klan's been telling you this.
This is the KKK telling me this, just in case people don't understand who the Klansmen are.
Correct.
He said, I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Maddox, I admire you. He said, a black man had never been inside of our compound. But he said, I'm going to invite you in to show you some of the literature, the weapons, and the backhoes that we have to bury your people, because he said, your people are lost. He said, I'm going to tell you why your people are lost. He said, your people are lost, he said, because we turned you all around backwards when we brought you here in slavery. And he said, you have not recovered from that yet. I didn't know there was no blacks that knew that they was Israelites until I met you. He said, we got backhoes. We have weapons. He opened a door up. They had weapons stacked up to the ceiling. I said, AK-47? That's a Russian-made gun.
That's right.
M1s. ammunition.
Grenade launchers, the whole nine.
They had the whole nine up in there. And then he took me to another room and showed me all of the food that they had stored up. And then showed me the backhoes in the burial spot where he said we got to bury your people at.
Mass graves.
He said, it took us 1,500 years to turn your people around backwards, Mr. Maddox. He said, you can preach for the next 2,000 years and you will not change them back. I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, well, let me tell you this then. I said, there's a whole group right down the road from you in a little town called Ullin, Illinois. I said, it's about 10,000. I kind of exaggerated that part of it a little bit, but I said, we don't mean you no harm, and I wanted to meet you to let you know that we are not here to cause you no trouble, and we hope you don't cause us none. Now, that's what that heathen told me.
Yes, sir.
I did a follow-up on him here about 6-8 months ago.
Right.
They told me he was dead.
Good.
But somebody else done took over, trust me.
Oh, probably his son.
So, I mean, they are all over the United States because I work with them. And by me being a professional welder, most jobs I went on, there wasn't no black people on it. If they did, they carried a shovel. They were doing some kind of, job that I had never planned on doing no more.
Right, right.
But when he told me that the real Jews wasn't very far from where the slave ships dropped them off at, do you know what that did to me?
Verified what you have been